Do you want to join in? Come on, join in. That was the question that was posed to me as a 9-year-old as I stood at the side of a rugby pitch. You see, rugby was distant to me at that stage because I grew up in a hockey family. My dad played hockey to a representative level. He then went on to umpire internationally. I had an older brother and an older sister who both played hockey as well. And since no age, I had a hockey stick in my hand. But this invitation was different, to join in mini rugby. I had two choices as I stood there. I didn't have any of the gear on. I didn't have rugby boots, a gum shield, the kit. So it was very easy to say no. But for some reason I said yes and I joined in, and I absolutely loved it. So much so that as I went to get into my mum's little red car to go home, she refused to take me in straight away because I was covered in muck. So we had to get blankets and jumpers and things out so that I could get into the car to find my way home. I went home that night and I asked my dad, could I get a pair of rugby boots and go back the next week? And thankfully, he said yes. My name is Paul Marshall. I'm 40 years of age, and since the age of 9, rugby has played a pivotal role in my life. Through my school days, going on to represent Ulster and Ireland, and even post those days in education, and more recently working with players trying to help them develop off the field. It all started with an invitation to join. And as you're sitting there, there's 3 little things that I want to touch on in terms of setting the bar high. And I wonder, do you do that in your life? I wonder, is that in terms of your school, your education, in terms of sport, music, drama, whatever that activity might be. But I think that the 3 key things are belief, attitude, and resilience. And for me, belief stems right back to my days in school in 6th form in psychology. We had a new teacher that joined the school, and he asked us to write a little bit about ourselves on a sheet of paper, what our dreams were, what our goals were. And I remember writing it exactly like this, word for word. It might seem a bit silly, but I want to be a professional rugby player. And I think the fact that I wrote it might seem a bit silly, I probably doubted myself very much at that stage. But I remember getting this back, and it was circled, and it said at the bottom, the best chance of achieving your goals is to believe that you'll achieve them. And that was the first little bit of psychology that I had in terms of sport, where I suddenly realized if I believe in something enough, there's a chance that I might succeed. On to attitude. Well, for me, attitude was kind of the easy one, because I was by far not the most gifted in our team. We had so many talented players that I would say I was well down the pecking order in terms of ability and talent. But I realized really early on, I can do the simple things really well and work hard. And I came across something when I left school and when I finished when I was in education. And it was this here, you might have seen it yourself. 10 things that require 0 talent. And I realized when I was young that I did all of these things because I knew that I didn't have the same ability as others. I knew I had to be punctual. I knew I had to work hard, be energetic, enthusiastic, all these things because they would help me achieve what my goal was. But of course, things don't always work out how we hope. And I want you just to have a little look in terms of resilience at this. This is my Form 1 rugby photo, and I want you, just as you sit there, to take a little second to see if you can pick me out. I hope you didn't, because I'm not in the photograph. Because what actually happened in first form was you only got into the photograph if you made the A team, and I didn't make the A team. Only 2 out of our mini rugby group didn't make the A team, and I was one of them. Went on into Form 2, got in and out of the A team a little bit. It wasn't until 3rd form that I was able to cement my place on the A team. But I still had belief and dreams, but it took a little while to get there, to represent my school at the time each week. So you might think everything just worked out great from there. Well, skip forward a few years. I'm on the Ulster Schools squad, and I cannot wait to be involved. We're 2 weeks away from the first game. We're playing a game down in Dublin. I hurt my elbow, and my dad was down at the game, and I remember saying to him, it doesn't feel great. I hope I don't get another knock on it. We arrived back, went to the hospital, and I had quite a severe break in the corner of my elbow, which required surgery. So you can see what looks like a screw. That is a screw that is still in my arm now as I stand here. But I was so devastated. I remember coming out of the hospital, phoning our coach in tears to say, I'd broken my elbow, I wasn't going to be able to play. So a setback, a chance to have some resilience for me. The next year, thankfully, I was able to play for Ulster schools, and it was an amazing experience. Really delighted to do that with some of my school friends and other people from other schools that I'd met along the way. But then the next thing comes along, and there's an Irish schools tour to Australia that summer for 6 weeks. I've never been to Australia as I stand here now, so you can imagine I didn't make that tour. And I was devastated. I got a phone call from the team manager to say, we're really sorry, you're on standby. And back then, the IRFU would have sent you a physical letter saying you're on standby. Basically, keep your phone on for the next number of weeks in case we need you. And I waited for 6 weeks over the summer for a phone call, which never came. But that was a disappointment, a chance again to show some resilience and continue on. So I'd left school now at this stage, and I'm on the Irish under-21 panel. And again, played a little bit in the Six Nations at under-21 level, and the dream is to make the World Cup in Argentina that summer. I've never been to Argentina, so you're going to understand what followed. I got a phone call to say, we're sorry, you're on standby. I got that physical letter that said, you're on standby. And at that point, I went and fetched the other letter. I got the two of them side by side in my parents' house in the wardrobe. I stuck them together, and I got a permanent marker, and I scored across the two letters, and I wrote, do not get left behind in 2006, because I had another opportunity the next year. 2006 comes along, and I make the World Cup at under-21 level. A dream come true, something which I'd missed out on in 2 previous Irish tours. Second game in, I broke my left hand and had to come home early. And why do I tell you all that? Because those are the years that actually shaped my life moving forward. Because in 2006, I then got contracted to play for Ulster professionally, and I played there until 2018. I got to represent Ireland 3 times in 2013, and it was a great occasion. I made no mistakes in my debut in 2013 because I didn't touch the ball. I was only on for a minute. But I want to ask you a few things and challenge you on that. Do you have a growth mindset or a fixed mindset? This is work that was done by a psychologist called Carol Dweck, and she coined this phrase in 2006 in her book Mindset. And funny, I didn't know about this because it hadn't come out came out in 2006. I didn't know about this in my earlier years. But when I looked at it, it made sense to me. A growth mindset sees failure as an opportunity to grow. It sees feedback as being constructive. It sees trying new things as a way to develop and expand yourself. A fixed mindset says that my limitations are based on my talent, and that's it. I can't change it. I can't make it any better. I can't grow and develop. And there's young people in the room today, and that is my challenge for you. Are you of a growth mindset? Are you open to try new things? Are you open to challenges, to expand yourself? Because the world has so many opportunities for you. Or are you a fixed mindset where you're comfortable in your little zone and you're worried about failure? But don't be. See it as an opportunity to grow and develop. And it's quite simple. And maybe for some of you today, you've been on the sidelines, or you might even find yourself on the sideline now. And it might not be through sport. It could be for another activity. It could be something totally different, but something that you're passionate about. Or you maybe don't even know that you're passionate about it yet because you haven't tried it. But someone's going to give you that opportunity to join in. They're going to say to you, come and join us. And you've got that opportunity to be of a growth mindset, to take that step and see what opportunities might lie ahead. But I also want to challenge you. You might already be that person in a team or in a group, and perhaps you will notice somebody on the periphery, as those boys did whenever I was standing on the sideline as a 9-year-old. And you have the opportunity to invite them in, and you could completely change their lives. Rugby's changed my life and shaped me, and it's all because somebody offered me that invitation to join when I was young. It wasn't complex, it wasn't tricky. It took a leap of faith from me, and I loved it, and I have not looked back. So my challenge for you young people today
is it doesn't need to be complex. It can be very simple. But all you have to be willing to do is answer that question or ask it to somebody else. Do you want to join in? Thank you.